Are there ways to save money when looking at a design?
There's some great ways to reduce the cost by just changing up some of the amenities, moving away from Pella's aluminum clad window, which is a great window, moving it to maybe the vinyl series windows can save you, tens of thousands of dollars on a single home.
Yeah. And if the floor plan you're looking at has a lot of decks or covered porches, maybe you don't need that exterior space. Our packages, we all included, the decking right off the bat. So maybe we can reduce some of that outdoor space without actually affecting the floor plan. It could cut some money.
Our floor plans actually start with a 9 to 10 foot wall. And, if that's something that you want to change, we certainly can change that to an 8-foot wall to accommodate that need as well.
Yeah.
Even looking at lower level finishes, that's a good way to lower those costs up front and maybe come back looking in the future to include those finishes too.
Yeah. And just maybe looking at maybe the complexity of the design. Well,
Sure.
like you mentioned, going down with the home, if you can reduce the footprint of the home, it can certainly reduce the overall cost. And then the complexity of the home, reducing some of the corners, which then, simplifies some of the roof lines as well. So
Jake asked, do you offer walkthroughs or showings of Golden Eagle homes to get an idea of what our home could look like? On our website, we have a lot of amazing 3D walkthroughs that you can take. We also have the guided home YouTube tours. And once you actually start the design process and we get through all year to, developing the floor plans, make the selections, we also offer 3D renderings, which are an amazing tool for customers to really see what their house is going to look like with, the different cabinets and trims that they selected. So great question.
This question comes from Brian in Utah. We want to build our dream home, and we absolutely love your 5,000 square foot home with the lake view in the front and the back of the house. What size of lots do I need?
Yeah, so I think Brian's talking about our Timberlake home there. But if we think about that Timberlake home, I believe we're right around 100 feet wide, give or take. Typically, most lots, you're going to have a 10-foot setback. So we're at least, on each side, 120 feet wide at minimum, plus any additional space you're going to want. I believe that home's approximately 75 or 78 feet deep. So, depending if you're building, like, let's say on a lake that requires a 75-foot setback, now we have to take that into consideration, plus the depth of the footprint itself. So a lot of variables there. Best thing I could say is probably give us a call if you're looking for land, and we could look at what home you're actually looking at. Maybe you've already got a survey or the realtor has a survey or something on file that we could kind of look at with you to kind of help point out some things for you to think about while you're looking.
All right. Second part of his question is, how can I get into the home faster? How could I get the house built faster?
definitely maybe start with one of our standard plans, make your changes to it. It's going to be a custom design in the end, right? You're going to make it your own, but that's going to definitely shorten the design time of the home.
Absolutely. And the last part of his question is, I have rheumatoid arthritis. Can I have an elevator built into the home?
Absolutely. We've done it many times before. Best thing is to let us know those details, and we'll work that into the design, definitely.
Next question comes from Deanna. Do you have red cedar available as a choice in wall or ceiling panels?
Red cedar, and we've got many other choices available. That's something that we're going to pick out when we meet with our design team throughout the process of designing that home.
There's actually two parts that she actually submitted 2 questions. And the last half is, have you built any homes in eastern Iowa, south of Dubuque?
Oh, yeah. We built several homes in that area. I'd say pretty close to 100 if memory serves me correct. But one of the homes that comes to mind is the Iowa cabin that was built most recently. It's just absolutely beautiful. That Mississippi River Basin, just absolutely beautiful place to build.
Next is Steven in Montana. How do you design the home from a different state?
A lot of times we're going to start that design work via Zoom meetings, phone calls, emails. With the capability of Zoom meetings, I can share my screen. It's literally like we're sitting at the same table designing that home, talking about the plan. I can mark up the plan, put sketches on it. It makes it very easy to design the home from states apart. And then, if we're not on that property, we can definitely still design it to the property by having a topographical survey. So we can get a topographical survey in a digital format. We can import that information into our design software, and we can see how that home is going to fit the property, how it hits topographical lines. With modern day technology, not a big deal, designing that home from a different state. It's pretty much the norm.
Yeah, I think all of our customers are building. I mean, not all, but a lot of them are building from different states. The state. Jeff asks, Golden Eagle's been on my radar for years. Can you build a modest log home for under $500,000, or are we looking at $1 million or more? The other question we got was, do you offer homes for under 250K? So they kind of go together. Most of our homes at Golden Eagle, we're going to start probably around $800,000 on average and go up from there based on amenities and where you're building. But we do have our friends and coworkers over at Log Home Art, where they offer more of a, the log cabin kits, kind of a tiny home style hunting cabin, that kind of style for a much lower price point, more the DIYers. So I would strongly encourage, customers to go take a look at that and see if that fits what they're thinking.
Next question comes from Mike in Idaho. We really want to build a shop first to be able to store things during the build. I was curious if you guys offer DIY kits for shops that would eventually match the home we build in the future.
I think that's a frequent thing that we do. We have customers who are looking to either build the shop first prior to the home, or vice versa, coming back to build a shop after the home is complete. So definitely a common thing, and we can make sure that those two buildings are going to come together with the same materials.
Yeah,
sure.
We actually do it. Very quite often. Like the client buys that property before they're ready to build kind of the big home, but they're still excited to use the property. So they want to build the shop, or maybe it's a shop with living quarters above it. They can get pretty extravagant with these secondary buildings, which really comes before the home. And then, like you said, I mean, we match the sidings and the facades and the finishes like the new home or the big home is going to be. And it looks like it was all built at the same time. And it's very cohesive.
Definitely give us a call. Any one of us can handle your questions and flesh out whatever you're thinking about.
Definitely. Next question comes from Miles in Tennessee. Does Golden Eagle build the home?
So Golden Eagle has a large network of professionals throughout the industry. We have a large network of builders, landscape architects, smart home technology, different people we can team up with, lenders. So while we're not the builder, we do have the network that we can actually basically serve as a one-stop shop for you.
Absolutely. And, if you already have a builder in mind, that's certainly something that we can accommodate as well.
Next question came from Tessa. She asked, do I need land before I begin? While you don't need the land before you actually contact us, we would need you to own the property before we can start any design work with you. But I'd still strongly encourage customers to give us a call so we can walk through details, go through budgetary numbers, stuff like that, get you started.
Yep. Never too early to start talking, but would definitely really want to have property before we started that design work, because that property is going to dictate a lot what happens with the home, especially the locale. If you don't even know what state you might be building in, building codes could change, snow loads, wind loads, seismic loads could change. So definitely have property before you build.
Yeah, definitely the conversations will be more meaningful at that point, and we'd have a better idea of actually what we can accommodate for you. So this next question comes from Mark and Lisa. We've always wanted a log home. What should we be looking for with a log home supplier?
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely going to want somebody that has a long track record, has been in business a long time, great history of satisfied customers. Here at Golden Eagle, we've been in business since 1966, right? Over 6,000 homes across North America. So this is definitely not going to be the first home we're building, right? Yeah. We've got a ton of experience. That's going to be, one of the first things I would look for when looking for a log home supplier or purchasing anything. But yeah, definitely a good track record, longevity.
I always tell customers too, think about what is that company offering, and do they offer what you're looking for? Here at Golden Eagle, we're doing full log, we do timber, we do half log. So make sure that they're actually offering what it is you want to build, and you're not getting kind of talked into something that maybe wasn't what you were looking for in the first place.
Absolutely. And do they have other things that they can provide you as well? At Golden Eagle, it's one-stop shopping. You're just not buying a log kit. We can provide you with cabinetry, vanities, plumbing, everything else that you're going to need to have this dream come true for you.
Then along with, looking at the log and timber components, are they offering kiln dried, or are they only having air dried materials available? Kiln dried is a big one that would be on the top of my list for sure.
Scott asked, if I'm looking at a log style floor plan on your website, can I make it a timber style home? Absolutely. You know, I always tell customers don't get held up if it's designed as a log home or a timber home. We can change all the exterior amenities or interior amenities up. A great example of that was actually the Petenwell Lake home that we just featured on YouTube. That was driven kind of as a starting point from our original Lakehouse, which was a log home. And then he did it more of a timber style. So absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So this next question comes from Tom and Joanne. Why is buying a complete home package the best option? And that's probably one of the biggest questions we ever get. So there's so many facets that come to answering this question. We'll touch on just a few of them, but one of the reasons why ordering up a complete home package is being able to have one-stop shopping, getting everything you need from one visit. When you come here to Golden Eagle, you're talking to us about design, engineering. You have the floor plans designed for you. You have interior designers working with us here. So you're picking out the finishes, your cabinets, the stains on your house. You're not having to go from one store to the next. Everything is done and decided before you leave here. So it's really quite amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it makes the process stress-free, right? So you're picking all these amenities out before you even start construction. So there's not that worry about, hey, what are my cabinets going to cost? What is the real cost going to be of this home? At Golden Eagle, you have a final contract before you start construction. So I think one of the biggest things with the complete package is it's the most stress-free way to purchase a home.
Yeah, you're not forgetting things. You're not having vendor to vendor, running around looking for different products. To Justin's point, you're not going over budget because all the allowances are removed and you're actually dealing with what you picked during the design.
And that's such a great point to touch on because nobody wants to be surprised midway through or at the end of a build with extra costs that weren't anticipated for or banked on. I mean, it's, you're working within a budget and then all of a sudden the budget changes. That creates a lot of stress.
Yeah. I mean, having all the teams here, the complete package is part of that. So, if maybe a door gets moved or you add something to the cabinetry that affects a wall gets moved, all the teams are notified. So you don't have to worry about if everybody is on the same page. We do that right here in the background. You don't even have to think about it.
Yeah. And that's so awesome, because everything is being done from one department to the next. You're not having to stop what we're doing here and make a contact call or an email to somebody else that's outside the building waiting for them to respond. You don't lose any time in the build. And so that's really a unique option and process that we can offer our customers.
So the next question, we are 1 to 2 years from retiring and want to have the home completed when we retire. When should we get started? By the time you start the preliminary ballpark, we go through the design phase, go through selections, and get through engineering, especially depending on where you're actually looking to build. Do we need stamp plans? What level of engineering do we need? That process, you could be looking at, on average, 6 months, give or take. Then you got to submit for permits and then the build. Mm-hmm. So it could be 1.5 to 2 years, roughly, on average, from the time you start to the time you're moved in. So really, right now would be the best time to get started.
Not to scare people, but we just really want to set the timeline correctly, set the expectation, and make sure you get here in a timely fashion. You're not rushed through the process. Let's make this, like we talked about, as stress-free as possible. So, if you're looking to move into that home 2 years, just work the timeline backwards. And right about now is the time to get in here and start designing.
Next question comes to us from Alan. Does anyone come out to take a look at the property?
Yes. The builder, a lot of times, is going to be the boots on the ground. He's going to be able to get out there, see the view, see the property, walk it with you. He's going to be a great resource to place in that home on the property once we've got a preliminary plans designed.
Yeah, and with technology today, a lot of the times a topographical survey is going to be sufficient to handle that. We'll incorporate that into our design software, and we'll be able to visualize the home, how it's going to actually sit on that piece of property.
And the next question comes from Gary. He asked, do we need to have the plans engineered to meet local codes? So No, Golden Eagle will take care of that. Yes, you will have to have the plan stamped and engineered to meet the local codes, but that's not going to be something that you're going to need to take care of. We do that right here at Golden Eagle with our on-site design staff. That department is amazing. They're designing all these homes throughout North America, making sure they're meeting all the code requirements. And then we take it to the next level by having those plans stamped. So each municipality is going to be a little bit different on what they want to see for their engineering. And we're going to look into that. We're going to make sure that the engineer stamps, whatever he needs to stamp. Sometimes it's pretty minimal, but sometimes it is full blown engineering. Like that municipality wants every page stamped. They want a calc pack. I referenced one of those homes I did recently. It was over 400 pages of engineering. So sometimes it's, the client wonders why it takes so long, but when they get the plans, they understand. I mean, that's a hefty set of design and engineering that receive. And then we send that out to the builder as well. And then he takes that into the building department and pulls permits with our plans. So no need for extra engineering. We take care of that right here at Golden Eagle.
Okay, this next question comes in from Julie. What does a home like this cost? That's a frequent question that we get, and usually I would refer to the website to try to figure out which design that we're describing. We can look through the floor plans tab, and once we find that design that we're interested in, we can find all the details of that plan. We'll see the layout of it, the details as far as the size and number of bedrooms and bathrooms. If we scroll down even further, that's going to show us package turnkey prices. And what that means is a turnkey cost is a fully built home. So that's going to be our materials package plus what it's going to cost for the labor with the builder to construct that home.
Yeah. And I think those prices are really great national averages. But I strongly encourage customers to still give us a call just to talk through any details as far as what changes they might want to make and where they're building, because different geographical areas are going to have a little bit different pricing associated to them. The next question from Ashley, it was, at what point should we come and see you? Let's have a conversation first. Give us a call. We can see where you're at time frame wise as far as when you're thinking you want to start construction. But yeah, we're definitely encouraging people to come visit us, if they're wanting to get started soon. We'd love to have you here, show you around our showroom, show you all the different options we have, sit you down, really kind of figure out what it is you're looking to build. A lot of customers, it depends. Are you going to make multiple trips? I've got a lot of customers that start plans before they even come visit us, and then they come in just for final selections. Other people want to make multiple trips. So really it's where you're at in time frame, I think.
Well, those were all great questions. If there's any questions that we did not answer tonight, leave them in the comments below, like and subscribe the video, and make sure to stay in contact, be part of the Golden Eagle community by clicking on the Stay Informed button on our website.